Hello and welcome to the Mindset Alchemy podcast. I'm Janine and I'm delighted to have you join me. Today we're going to be talking about what's negative. It was so fascinating. I was chatting with a friend the other day and they were saying, what do these things keep happening to me for? I'm so positive. And I went, no, not quite. There's something called the law of paradoxical intent that you've been playing with without understanding what you're playing with. There's also the law of attraction and the law of creativity, creating. We understand this. And I was saying to them, I said, what do you mean, Janine? And I said to them, well, look at the way you say you're positive, and I agree, you do work on being more positive. You work on seeing what's available to you. The thing, though, is you spend most of your time looking at the lack, the fear around what is unavailable for the end of the month, the fear that you may be unavailable to meet all of your debts at the end of the month or during the month. That fear is heavy. And it's to bring in other thoughts, other feelings around it, to lighten it so that the energy lifts up to what you desire having rather than what you dread. And for me, it's been a journey. I understand that the one day somebody says to me, oh, you're so negative, Janine. And I went, what? I think I was about 13 or 14 years old, and it was a tennis coach. And he said to me, he's never met anyone as negative as you, as I am. Now, at 13, it's one thing telling somebody to do something. He was unavailable to offer a suggestion of what I could do or should do. I then, when I left school, I was offered the book, Napoleon's Hill book, Think and Grow Rich. And honestly, people, I could not get into this book. It just seemed like Greek to me. I also would like to add, I feel I was a little bit emotionally immature at the time for it. And yet others have read it and it's revolutionized their life. I was unaware of the reason that there would be to read it. And I deeply regret having resisted pushing through and reading it. It would have really, really made a huge difference. Anyway, back to the original story. So I said to this person, yes, it's one thing to acknowledge that, goodness, look at this. I appear to have a shortfall. It's when you stay there and, well, what am I going to do? And what am I going to, what's going to happen? And you keep focusing on the lack of it rather than the expansion of, well, what else is possible? Where can I possibly allow extra cash in? Where can I bring in, where can I allow for more cash flow? What would it look like to have all my bills met effortlessly and with ease? People, these are all things I've done and worked with. I have done so many money mindset courses. So let's look at it from a position of relationships. I've sat with people who say, oh, you know what? My family absolutely underappreciate me. My question is, well, where are you underappreciating yourself? Because they are mirroring to you what you are doing to yourself. Also, where do they appreciate you? Where do they show how much regard they have for you? And if they don't, where can you offer it to yourself? Because when you focus on the fact of, oh, look, I can appreciate myself for having done the dishes. I can appreciate myself for having gone on a walk. We focus on the appreciation of self, and then people get to mirror back to us where they appreciate us as well. Whereas when we focus on the feeling of being underappreciated, number one, they're showing us what we're doing to ourselves. And number two, the focus is creating more of it. Therefore, we're creating a negative or a lack in our life. In relationships, I've heard people say, oh, my partner doesn't love me. Well, they can only love you to the level that you love yourself. Because after that, you simply just are unable to see it, to perceive it, and to receive it. And that is a very sad thing. And people say, well, how do I love myself more? Well, first of all, stop focusing on other people and start focusing on what you would like to have in your life, what you desire to have in your life. Where can you show yourself self-love? By saying no to things you dislike and yes to things you like. Then we come to the moot point of, are you aware of what you like? Are you aware of what lights you up and brings you joy? Because that is what is going to create a difference for you in your life. Understanding what you do enjoy, understanding what you love doing, and doing more of it if you can. Now, people say to me, well, I don't have the cash flow to do that. Well, where can you do it without requiring cash flow? Where can you watch it, visualize it, feel into it, get into the experience of it, and allow it to come forward for you? I enjoy knitting and sewing, and I realized I was boring myself because I was just doing garter stitch. So I started a blanket where I did it differently. I started with one stitch and I'm increasing on either side, and I've put cables in. Wow, I look forward. I have an anticipation towards doing my knitting now. And that has gone on into my business, into my relationships, because I've been creative and fed my soul and shown myself self-love through that creative endeavor. Or I'll sit down and in one of my journals, I'll paint or I'll draw or I'll put something in, because I am loving myself enough to create. I'm loving myself enough to give myself time. And that then translates into my business loving me, which allows me to help more clients, allows me to help people understand personal leadership more, to be able to channel more effectively and get deeper and more expansive answers for myself and for my clients. When we are unaware of what is a negative, what is a heavy energy or a thought or a focus, we are then unable to lift it up. When we bring a lighter thought, a lighter feeling, and we shift our focus to what it is we would love to have, what we would enjoy, we are literally almost like bringing a candle into a dark room. And then from the candle, we can bring a flashlight. From the flashlight, we can install electricity, have the cash flow to pay the bills, and light it up. From there, we can step out into the sunshine and allow that to warm us up and light us up. And it starts within us, acknowledging, what is life showing me? What do I dislike about it? What do I dread about it? And shifting our focus to what is a dream, what we desire, and what we would prefer to have. I would love to hear your thoughts around this. Let me know, because remember, personal leadership is about knowing ourselves better so that we can create that vision, because we are going to be asked to build the resiliency so that we can have the energy and the capacity to move towards that vision and dream, because life is going to throw the curveballs to help us build a deeper foundation, to strengthen our ability, to help us to be able to hold space for the energy of our dreams. And when we see these curveballs and these challenges as stepping stones rather than as stumbling blocks, it's just absolutely incredible what happens. We shift the energy, we shift the focus, and we shift our life into one of lightness rather than one of dread. Have a beautiful and glorious day. Seeing the light in your life. Bye-bye.